الحمد لله الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through His eternal fadl and His rahmah, has given us guidance through the person who is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So He sent us guidance so that we walk on the straight path, the path that leads us to Jannah. And every Muslim's desire, hope, ambition, dream and dua is to enter Jannah. The reason why Muslims are Muslims is not just because they want social justice, which undoubtedly is an objective and we should definitely fight for it. Not just because they want a political system where we observe human rights, which is also an ideal and we should definitely fight and struggle for it. But if you ask people why are they Muslim, and why do people come into Islam, then you will find one answer, and only one answer. It is not because Muslims have the best political system in the world. The proof's in the pudding. It's not because we have the best economic system in the world. As you can see, it's not because we have the best cultural values in the world. It's not because we have the best educational system in the world. There's only one reason, and only one reason why people become Muslim and remain Muslim. That, my dear brothers and sisters, is salvation. It's because we believe the only road that leads us to salvation and Jannah is Islam. Despite being oppressed and despite the inhuman massacre of people in Gaza, in Kashmir, in Rohingya, in China, in Yemen, in other places in the world where Muslims are constantly bombarded and killed indiscriminately, despite all of that, they remain Muslim. Why do they remain Muslim? They do their janazah on the people who die, the shaheed. Why do they do that? Their systems have failed. The people who are supposed to help them, they fail. But yet they hang on to something which they all say is Islam. It has no immediate, tangible, political, economic benefit to them in this world. But they hang on. The only reason they hang on is because they believe salvation is only in Islam. That the path to Jannah is only through Islam. So we might want to rethink. I'm not against protests, demonstrations. You have demonstrations, protests here on the campus, in other places in this country, and we're doing whatever we can to make a difference, which we should do. There's no doubt in that. But we may want to take a step back and think about the true value of a Muslim. The true value of a Muslim is in his adherence and istiqamah, a constant attachment to his deen, to Allah, to the Rasul. We ain't giving this up for anything. You can kill us, you can massacre us, you can take away our food, you can take away our rights, but you can't take this away. We ain't giving this up. Why? Not because there's a secular value in our position, but because there is an eternal value. That when I die, I don't want to end up in hell. I want to end up in Jannah, in paradise. And the only system that guarantees me that is Islam. So I hold fast to that. I hold that dearly, more precious than my own life, more precious than my family, more precious than the political system, more precious than the economic system, more precious than any secular value that you can think of. So we may want to consider that yes, we should demonstrate, we should protest. We should do everything within our power to change and right the wrong. That's a given, which alhamdulillah we're doing. Allah give us barakah and success. At the same time, what we must appreciate as a true value and as a true commitment and as a true victory for Muslims who are being persecuted, killed, massacred, is that they hang on to relentlessly their Islam. That is a victory. You ever seen pictures, mashallah, of those who are being brutally, barbarically killed in Gaza, in Palestine, and other places? When you look at them, they're smiling. Somehow they're at peace. Where does that come from? It doesn't come from the Israelis. It doesn't come from the US of A. It comes from a dear attachment to something within them, in their hearts. Their iman is deeply rooted, firmly rooted, that nothing can shake their iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, at the time of Khandaq, at the time of the Battle of Ditch, the Muslims were severely in trouble, outnumbered. The Prophet ﷺ himself dug a ditch all around Medina to protect it. But they had no food. They had no food. They were hungry. The Prophet, the Sahabi came to the Prophet and showed the Prophet how hungry he was by lifting his shirt, and he had a rock tied against his stomach so that he would not crouch. Listen to this and try to understand what it is I'm saying. The Prophet ﷺ lifted his shirt Mubarak and showed the Sahabi that he had 2 rocks on his stomach, not one. Meaning he was just as or even more hungry than that Sahabi who had 1 rock attached to his stomach. So you have 1, I have 2 rocks. Subhanallah, I mean, that's called leadership. They suffered. They went through this trial, this persecution, this agony. Now, this is how human beings fight. But none of them gave up salat. Subhanallah. None of them gave up the dhikr of Allah, which is in the previous ayah, which I just recited. They held steadfast to their Islam. Meaning things, the context around me may change and they may be brutal. But I'm not giving up my Islam. So when you see the Mujahideen in Gaza smiling and everyone's doing the janazah of their shaheed brother, they're showing the whole world, you can rock us, you can kill us, you can persecute us, you can do everything to us, but you're not going to make us give up Islam. That, my dear brothers and sisters, is called istiqamah. And it's a true victory in the face of oppression. And this is what the West simply does not understand. Why are Muslims so Muslim at the time of utter desperation? That's called Allah's fadl. That's called Allah's tawfiq. That's called a commitment to Jannah, where we're just not looking at the secular value of our lives here, we're looking after we die. This is the vision of a Muslim. That I don't want to end up in hell. I want to make sure when I die, somebody does my janazah, make dua for me, that I end up in Jannah. And this is the true message of Islam. This is the true message of the Prophet ﷺ. The true message of the Sahaba is this ayah, مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ. At the time of Khandaq, at the time of the Battle of the Ditch, there are men who came true to their promise, who made their promise to Allah and commitment to their covenant come true. They remained steadfast. They did not let go of their Islam, their deen. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ. There are those who met their fate and they died. And there are those who survived and they waited. وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. But they did not change anything. They did not change their commitment to Allah, their commitment to Jannah, their commitment to Islam, their commitment to their deen. And this is the biggest lesson we should learn. All of us. Yes, what we do, demonstrations, protests, making sure the divestments and whatever you want to do, that's fine. Do it and do more of it. What you don't do is you do not give up hope in Allah. You don't give up your dream to enter Jannah. You don't give up your commitment to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you follow him. You have 1 rock on your stomach, I have 2. Learn from the Rasul that this is a commitment. And promise your commitment to Allah and the Rasul. Then Allah's help will come, which it came. And the Battle of the Ditch, we all know the help came. Muslims were victorious after that. Alhamdulillah. So likewise, we should definitely make dua for those who are being killed. The Muslims of Gaza, Muslims of Kashmir, Rohingya. It's not just Gaza. There are other places in the world where Muslims are just as barbarically killed. Rohingya, savage killing. Savage. Kashmir, unbelievable stories. China, unbelievable stories. Yemen. So it's not just an issue of Gaza, it's an issue of any and every Muslim who's been persecuted in this world. They need our du'as, they need our support. They need to see from us that we're committed to Islam. In this land, Allah bless this land. Allah give this people in this country hidayah. The land of what is now atheism, the land of agnostics, the land of total moral anarchy, when Muslims in other parts of the world, and don't underestimate what I'm saying, I've traveled the world. When Muslims in other parts of the world see Muslims in the USA committed to Islam, they gain power. They gain hope. Wow. In the superpower of the world, there are Muslims who are committed to Islam. You, alhamdulillah, you're committed. Why are you here? This is Friday. Why do you take a day off? Why do you take time off for Jummah? Because you're committed. You come here not because the masjid is going to hand out money. Right? That you win the lottery, when you go to the masjid, you win the lottery, you get money. You come here for worshipping Allah in the hope that Allah will reward you in Jannah. That's why you're here. So we have to value our commitment in this country to Islam. See that as the greatest power in the universe where no one can shake us. Despite atheism around us, despite all the un-Islamic, anti-Islamic fervor, propaganda against us, despite what the media says about us, we are committed to Allah. We are committed to our deen. And we should see this as the greatest ni'mah in this country. Alhamdulillah, through Allah's fadl and tawfiq and barakah, we are here worshipping Allah in this masjid on this day. So before we start losing hope, we may want to be a bit more introspective, a bit more positive, a bit more optimistic, a bit more understanding of human nature. That this is genuinely a unique feature of the Muslim. That the Muslim, you can do whatever you want, but the Muslim will never give up Islam because of context, because of political situations. A Muslim will remain firm. Allah keep us all firm and give us istiqamah on the deen. And allow us, inshallah, to enter Jannah without any hisab. Amin ya Rabbil Alameen.